Do I need to do all of that over? My microphone wasn't on. I hope not. Yeah. Seriously.
We just can pretend it.
Yeah. Okay, Chief, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. Oh, you're just pulling up your report. We're buffering. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak up to you guys on the 2023 Northern Rockies Fire Rescue Annual Report. So we'll go through the slideshow, maybe. So in 2023, Northern Rockies Fire Rescue responded to 572 calls for service. Property value at fire risk was approximately 23 million, and fire loss for 2023 was 2.1 million, with a total fire save of 21 million. Our department consists of one career chief, a deputy fire chief, 6 career firefighters, 1 admin staffs, and who also acts as a dispatcher. And we have a complement of 9 paid on call firefighters, with 4 support firefighters and 1 fire service chaplain. We service 3 different types of areas. First up is our fire protection area, which is just north of mile 312 and the subdivision, Groves Trail, all the way to south of town to the gas plant, hydro plant, and the landfill to the south of us. And we do all of Fort Nelson First Nations, and we do the airport, and then partially down the airport road to the connector down there. So that's our fire protection area. As you can see, it's highlighted in the blue. The next area we cover is called a medical response area. That's where we assist BCHS for all medical calls when they dispatch us. As you can see, that one there's a little bit bigger. It goes just past 317. It does all of McConaughey Creek, Fort Nelson First Nations, all the way down to Jackfish Andy Bailey Park. And we also have an agreement with BCHS if their members are tied up and are not able to attend in a timely response, say to Toad River, to Prophet River, areas like that, we will send a crew until they're available to attend those calls. Well, we haven't had to do that yet, but it's been agreed upon that we will backfill if they're going to be delayed for a certain amount of time. Our next area that we take care of is our rescue response area. So this is mostly motor vehicle accidents, rope rescue, or embankment rescues that we attend to. So we do the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality area, plus we go to Sikanee Chief south of town. So we will go to the Northwest Territories border. We will go to the Yukon border to the west of us. East, we will go to the Alberta border, all the oil and gas roads servicing that area. And to the south, we will go right to Sikanee Chief. And we, us and Fort St. John meet at the bridge. So there's times they'll come in on our side and cover, and there's times we go on their side and we do stuff for them as well. During wildfire season, we piggyback off each other. If they can't get north, we'll cover south for them as much as possible. And then they do the same thing for us. They've come up and covered Prophet River south a few times when we couldn't get down the highway due to wildfires. So that's the 3 areas that the fire department covers. Any questions on those areas or anything up to this point? Yep.
So on a BC Emergency Health Services backfill, if that were to occur, would the province reimburse us for that?
For medical calls, no. The province only reimburse us for rescues, auto extrications, and embankment rescues and stuff like that. They won't cover us to or pay for us to do the ambulance service type of calls, no.
Even if their units are not available?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? The next slide is the types of calls and the percentage of our calls that we responded to in 2023. So as you can see, fire-related calls are 33%. Our medical calls are 40% of our call volume. Rescue calls are 8% of our call volume. Hazmat is 2% of our call volume in 2023. And public safety calls for the assist the public in our municipality area here is 17% of our call volume. Our paid on calls responded to 117 of the 572 calls for 2023. Any questions on that slide?
Counselor Going has a question about the medical related. call.
Yeah.
Can we talk just a little bit about what that looks like? Like
Yep.
how, yeah, can you tell us the story? So a call comes into 911 and then it's dispatched to BC Emergency Health Services. And then what type of situations would occur where Fort Nelson Fire Rescue would then be dispatched as well?
So the callers call either 911, they call the emergency services direct. They have that ability. So once the call is taken and is given to BCHS dispatch, depending on the severity of the call, if it's life-threatening, we get called, or their crews are going to be delayed, they will call us. But the majority of the calls that we do get dispatched to are, you know, high acute of life safety or severe medical calls type of deal. We don't go to their Band-Aid calls. If their crews are on scene and the patient is fairly heavy or in a, say, upstairs of a apartment building, something like that, they will call us for lift assist, where we go there and assist them lifting the patient down to the ambulance. And we'll do that service to the hospital as well if they require further assistance at the hospital, just transporting the patient. So to answer your question, we get dispatched to all life safety calls, and if they require extra hands on scene. There are times where they do, if their main first response car is out of the area and they backfill with their kilo shift, there are some times where they have a lone responder where they will assist us to drive ambulance for them or assist them with the patient. So.
Okay.
And again, just to make the point that we're not reimbursed for any of those types of assists.
No, we are under a first responder medical agreement with the province, and we don't get no reimbursement for that at all. No.
Okay, thank you.
But, oh, I see the first responder. So do we keep any kind of statistics or breakdown of those, or is it just all gets rolled into medical? Because I think it would be nice to know how many of these are life-saving, how many of these are lift assist, and how many are the third one that you said. It was the third category that just slipped my mind.
Yeah, lone responder.
All the
So,
lone responder.
so we do keep track of, we just started the end of last year that we did start taking track of, and we have it in our stats, what are lone responder calls and what calls are dispatched to us directly from the public without using 911 or BCHS, because we get a large amount of those calls as well from the general public. They phone our emergency line. We take the call, we dispatch BCHS, and we roll to those calls as well. So, but we do have stats on those. We could get you numbers on what calls were life safety versus lift assist. We would just have to go through or like our incident reports to get that data. We don't stat it as per se, but we could deep drill down and look for those.
The basic data is there. You just have to,
Yeah.
comb through it and figure out which is which. I mean, I think I'd be okay going forward. You know, I don't, if somebody might, and you keep all those records here over here. I'm sure you've got all those records somewhere.
Yeah, so
somebody
all
moves-
medical records are locked away in file cabinet at
Yeah.
the fire station.
Because how many years do you keep?
Want to say it's records?
Oh,
What do
so
you
you're keeping
like-
them, you're keeping them along.
Is it 10?
You're
So it's
keeping
10
them
years.
Yeah, okay. Because but from your report, it's that portion of your responses that seems to be growing largely. And, it would be interesting to see, if BCEHS is diminishing their service, if we're picking it up for them and they're not paying us. I mean, I'm not flipping out over backwards, but you know, it's something that I think we should be paying attention to, as we move forward. So if we have the information, we can keep the stat, but let's do that.
Yeah, we can start keeping those stats as well.
Okay.
That's not an issue at all.
It's just a breakdown into the
Yep.
3 general categories, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Did I see somebody else's hand up? Councilor Gruen?
And I don't mean to imply that I don't want fire rescue to respond, because I absolutely do.
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, no,
But I think there's a case to be made there, right? Yeah, potentially.
it's something we're paying attention to throughout the years. And as we get further into the slides, you'll see a breakdown of the last 5 years, what types of calls we responded to and stuff like that. So you'll see where we went up, where we went down, and stuff like that. So actually, it's the next slide.
Yeah.
So as you can see, since 2019, this is just a 5-year average of types of calls we responded to. So you can see our fire calls are usually pretty standard. They did rise last year, and we're kind of expecting the same similar thing this year. Our medical calls in 2022 were our highest. We had 230 medical calls in 2022. Last year in 2023, we had 224 medical calls. But that's skyrocketed ever since 2021, when we were in the depths of COVID. Our medical calls did pick up quite a bit from there, and they just haven't dropped off. Rescue calls are pretty well the same from year to year. We average around 50 to 60 rescue calls up and down the highway or within the area, the town boundaries. Burn complaints, I think you're going to see this year, our burn complaints are going to rise in 2024, because now where everybody's more aware of wildfires and burn bans, stuff like that, we do get notified way more often than what we normally used to. So I think you're going to see burn complaints rise over the next year. Our hazmat calls have stayed pretty similar throughout the years. Last year they did drop down quite a bit, but our hazmat calls go off of actually it goes off of how much snow we usually get as well, because a lot of people's roofs and their vents and their furnace vents and stuff freeze off in the wintertime or get covered up with snow. So we get a lot of CO calls to residents, which we haven't got hardly any this year. So, and then industry as well plays a big factor on our hazmat calls, what's rolling through town and what's coming through town. So our hazmat calls dropped off quite a bit. Investigations are where we have to go do an actual cause and determination on a working fire. So those calls, they go up and down year to year. And
I've got a question about the
Yep.
investigation. So the investigation is on so these are not inspections.
nope, these are
preventative inspect. These are investigations.
what caused the fire.
Yeah,
What
so
was
you're
the
being-
cause?
So is that double counting on the fire itself?
So you would do the fire,
Yeah.
and then you extinguish the fire, and then usually we let the place cool down for 24 hours. So it's a lot safer for us to go in there and start digging around and doing an investigation. So we'll go back to that place, say the following day.
Right.
And then we do a investigation, and sometimes investigations could last 2 to 3 days, depending on the severity of the incident or the building or what the location of the fire is. The majority of our fire calls, we do the investigation right after the fire. So as you'll see, as we get into the thing here, you'll see. So major fire loss would take a lot of time doing fire cause and determination of what caused the fires. Vehicle fires, we don't spend a lot of time doing vehicle fire investigations. We do that right up at the scene, or kitchen fires, stuff like that. We can do a cause and determination fairly quick on those fires. It's the large fire loss incidents that we do have to spend a few days on. So
It makes good sense that we're doing it. I just wonder why we're counting them as
it's usually we have to go back to that.
yeah. as a call out. So that number could actually come down by 20. I suppose the 572 would come down to 552. Because really not a call out. Or it's investigation of something you've been called out to already.
Yeah.
But they're not big numbers, so. But I get why you wanna, it's time. It's justifying time that that department's doing, so.
Yep.
Okay.
And there's times as well, like we're responsible for all the investigations in the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. So if there's a fire outside of our fire protection area, we're required to go and do the fire cause and determination under the fire commissioner's office. So we do have those calls as well that we didn't attend to the fire, but we do the investigation. So
Right, and that's at their request?
That's at insurance request, RCMP request, stuff like that, yeah. Public safety calls, that's calls basically that we get from the public if they want us to check out or to look at a possible fire issue, or they're having issues with their fire alarms going off, their smoke detectors going off, or if they want us to go to their residence, their property or business to do some type of a fire response. Sometimes we get people that lock their kids in their cars and stuff like that. So we will go and we will open up the doors like that, stuff like that. City assist calls or any calls
My kids would
basically.
break the window on the inside. Sorry.
City assist calls are just assisting public works. Those numbers are really low. Same thing with RCMP. From time to time, we get requested by them to do something to assist them because they're low on numbers or whatever. A new program we started in 2022 is the critical incident stress and management team that we have going. So we will do critical incident debriefings and diffusings with our members as well as the other emergency services members. And we also do that for the public as well. So the public's starting to use that as we have some critical incidents happen in the municipality. We send some people out to help and mitigate those issues with the people and work with them and stuff like that and get them the proper help that they require down the road. So it's a really good program that we have going.
Are those you paid on call staff members or is those?
So for
Career.
our team, we have 3 career, our fire chaplain, and 1 paid on call.
Oh, good.
So we try to get a little bit of everybody out of the department. So like when we run or when we do major incidents and our firefighters need a good diffusing or assistance with that, we don't want to have firefighters or staff that were involved in the call. We need fresh hands to come in to help do the diffusings and stuff like that. So that's why we have such a wide variety on our team.
Good. Good.
And like I said, the public, we've been out, I think we did probably 6 assist the public so far in the last 2 years. So the next slide is just a breakdown of the last 5 years of the number of calls that we responded to. It goes with the graph on the other slide. Any questions on those? Our next slide is going to give you just an overview of fires we had in our fire protection area last year and roughly their locations. So this is something we started last year. Is we have a large map on our wall in the service base, and every time we get a fire, we would put a sticker that would coincide with that location, so we could just keep track of our troubled areas. So we were continuing with that as well this year. So in 2023, as you can see, that's the whole fire protection area. The smaller flames are fires that were accidental, basically, at the end of the day. The larger ones are arson or fires that were set intentionally. So you could, and as we go to the next slide, you'll see a breakdown of fires. So that's the town boundaries. As you can see, there are fires that we had all through 2023. So we had some brush fires, a lot of vehicle fires, some trailer fires, and residential fires. And like I said, the large flames just indicate that that's human cause or arson set fire. And the smaller fires are during our fire cause determination. It was they were accidental or mechanical failure or something. So, any questions on that slide?
There was, thought I read in this report or maybe someplace else, that there was 22
Yep, we had
suspicious fires
22 suspicious fires last year in 2023 in our fire protection area.
and they were all structures?
Nope, that'd be structure, vehicle, brush, and ATV, stuff like that.
Okay, thanks.
So that's the town west of town. Our fires, the next slide. So west of town, all the fires we had west of town were human caused, accidentally. People burning grass, accidentally catch their neighbor's property and houses on fire, stuff like that. So, and we had some lightning caused brush fires, and down power line fires. So that's west of town. North of town, so anything north of Purdue Sub, basically we just had 3 fires. One was a vehicle fire, and we had 2 brush fires out towards the airport there. If we go south of town, so south of town and all of the industrial area, you can see we had a lot of our human cause or arson suspected suspicious fires were lots were south of town. So in the landfill, we had somebody going down there burning buildings and equipment shacks and stuff at the landfill. We had a couple brush fires that were caused. We had a ATV that went in the bush and it was lit on fire that caused a fire. We had a number of structure fires, and the majority were other ones were brush fires, and all the small ones basically were structure fires that we did do a cause and determination what caused the fire, what started the fire. Any questions on that slide?
Councilor Gurley?
Not necessarily a question for you, but is it possible for us to find out what the status of the investigations are around these fires? It seems unusually high to me.
So once we do a fire cause and determination, and once it's deemed suspicious, it's handed right over to the RCMP. So they become criminal files or they become their files.
So I guess that's my question. Is it possible for us to request to be updated on these files?
We could ask.
So is it only the arson, suspected arson, or do you consider every suspicious one to be arson? Or human cause to be arson?
So we classify suspicious basically if we can't do a fire cause and determination, or if somebody witnessed somebody driving there, or we have a video of somebody on camera lighting the fire. There's a number of ways that we do determine it to be a suspicious fire. And
Because not all
last year,
22 would necessarily be turned over, but, or were they?
once it's suspicious, yeah, we're required to turn them to RC.
So they should have 22 investigations that they can report to us about.
Probably more. To
Sure.
calls that we were outside of our area.
Sure. Okay, we should make a note of that. So that we can ask for an update.
Any other questions on those ones? The next slide is basically just a graph on what was the cause of the fires. So as you can see, the suspicious fires are the incendiary act fires, misuse of material ignited, so improper use or handling of material that was lit that caught on fire. We have misuse of source ignited, so accidents involving the source of ignition. So if somebody had, say, electrical outlet overpowered and it overheated and then tripped and caused a fire, those types of fires like that. Mechanical failures or breaks, a lot of those are vehicle fires. Human failing, that'll be more or less falls under, it could be like an ignorance of the fire hazard. Cannot be determined is fires that we just don't know if it was accidental. We don't know if it was mechanical. We just don't know. So we just classify them as cannot be determined. And we have exposure fires, you know, somebody's house caught on fire and then the neighbor's house caught on fire from the radiant heat or stuff like that. And as I said, in 2022, Northern Rockies Fire Rescue had 22 suspicious fires started in our fire protection area. Any questions on that slide? Moving on to fire department professional qualifications. So in 2023, our firefighters and department-wide, basically, we spent 2,518 training hours for the whole department. 12 Northern Rockies Fire Rescue members completed the AutoX training. 2 of our members continued training in trauma and crisis, which is our critical incident stress team. Northern Rockies Fire Rescue members completed a bunch of live drills in the water, rescues, high angle rope rescue drills and stuff like that. And every Tuesday night we spend 2 to 3 hours of training, and then we do some weekend training as well. So our department takes a lot of pride in the training that we give our members, so. Any questions on that slide? If you turn to the next one, it's just a couple pictures of the members out training. We try to train until we can never get it so the difference between amateur and professional is we want to be the professionals. So amateurs train just to get it right once, where professional will train so they never get it wrong, and that's where we strive to be. Is always, no matter the time, night or day, we don't get the incident wrong. We always try and train to know exactly what we're doing all hours of the day. So you can see there on the picture on the left here, that's one of our firefighters doing entanglement drills. This is our training live burn building at the training ground. They're doing indoor entries and thermal layering. And we must have did a water drill, and they're reloading a high volume hose on the other side. Any questions on that slide? Moving on to the next one, Northern Rockies Fire Rescue Fire Prevention Program. We strive to prevent fires within the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality through public education incentives, fire inspections, active code enforcement, and fire investigations in order to reduce the loss of life and property, as well as protect our environment. So this is just a picture of our firefighters after the Memorial Firefighter Walk at the Gary Giffen Memorial Park on 43rd Street. So we try to do that every year. So that's just a picture that we did. The next slide we're going to get into is going to be talking about serving our community and how we do a lot of our fire prevention, pub ed, and giving back to the community. So last year we did 311 life safety fire inspections. We did 20 new business license inspections. We did 195 hours of public education relations. We did 8 car seat inspections and 2 public information sessions on car seat installation. 50 plus members of the public and businesses receive personal fire extinguisher training or other training, life safety training. And we take a great pride and we put a lot of time and effort into the Emergency Service Community Christmas Dinner every year and the parade that we do around town. So if we switch to the next slide, this is going to be a breakdown of all of the life safety inspections that we do through fire prevention. So 60% of our life safety inspections are spent on commercial buildings in our municipality. 3% are recreational. So we do Toad River, we do ours, we do Prophet River, the Fort Nelson First Nations. Industrial counts for 5% of our inspections. Schools count for 9% of our inspection. Churches are roughly 1%, hospitals 1%, business license are 4%, and then if we do an inspection, a life safety inspection, and they do have some code enforcement issues that need to be corrected, then we call them re-inspections, where we give them 14 to 25 days, depending on the severity of the code enforcement. Then we go back and do a re-inspection, make sure that they have it all back up to code. So that's our fire inspection and prevention program there for fire life safety inspections. Any questions on that slide? Some short-term and long-term priorities that we'll be looking at in the near future with the fire department. Personnel and resources, as seen in the budget, we're proposing an additional fire prevention officer who will assist increasing our fire prevention program in our Northern Rockies Regional Municipality, as well as do some fire smarting and provide on-duty officer capabilities, sharing with Deputy Chief and myself, on-call officer week by week, so we can go on call a week, off for 2 weeks, on call a week versus on call every second week. And we are going to be focusing on hiring more paid-on-call firefighters with increasing our recruitment and retention program, which we have been working with Scott and Aaron over the last year, and with the paid-on-call group that we have currently, trying to find out ways how we can increase our paid-on-call staff members. So like I said, right now we're at 9. It would be nice if we were at 20, 25. So we're just trying to drive and do recruitment on paid-on-call ranks.
Have you got a goal for 2024?
Right now, we're hoping to do recruitment here in the early spring, so any day now. And I think right now we're at 5 applicants. We want to try and get to 6 so we can run a decent recruit class. And a lot of times what happens if we hire 6, we usually lose around 3 and keep 3. So.
Okay, Councilor Gurley.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. I love seeing you and the members out at like all of the community events, at the preschool health roundup. You were at Culture Fest. Like, it's just wonderful to see everybody out and about. Just a couple of points. I believe it's Mackenzie that does a junior firefighter initiative, and I'm wondering if you have looked into that. And then the other thing that I would offer is developing like our Grow Your Own program in conjunction with Fort Nelson Secondary School. So much like the lifeguard, I mean, it's going to be different, but you know, like the lifeguard where you actually, the people that participate actually get high school credits, and they can do it during school time, or they can do it off timetable. And I mean, I think I don't know if there's curriculum out there, but it might be something worth investigating to get grade 12s, because some of them will be of age actually to become paid on-call firefighters. So those were two of my thoughts. Thanks.
No, thank you for your comments. We have in the past looked at the junior firefighter program. As one of our major issues right now is our training ground. As we'll get through our slides, we're having some issues with our training ground. But we have looked at the junior firefighter program, running that during the summer or spring break, stuff like that. Also thinking about dropping the age right now. The age is 19 and up. We're thinking about going maybe to 19 and up, just thinking about it. But we can definitely look into the Grow Your Own program for sure, because that's actually a pretty good idea.
Thanks.
So I have a question about the Wildland Fire Smart comment that you've made in this slide, because I thought we had two separate, I thought we'd separated that from the fire department, and that we had put a position in the budget that I think was approved in draft budget, that we're hiring somebody separate for that, as opposed to, just want to make sure there's no confusion with respect to those two jobs.
There's
Yeah.
there's no confusion. So
Okay.
our thought process is that the Fire Smart coordinator would sit within RDP, and they would be sort of the administrator and coordinator of the Fire Smart program. When it comes to if our goal is to become a member of the Fire Smart Home Partners program down the road, which would actually enable our residents to receive rebates for Fire Smart activities on private property, we need to have wildfire mitigation specialists. And these are firefighters. These are structural firefighters who understand how structures burn. And that training is best done within a fire department. So our goal would be to use a small portion of the fire prevention officer's time, a small portion, to support the Fire Smart program, not be the coordinator, not be the administrator, but to support the Fire Smart program. Because we would need to utilize some services from firefighters to be able to do those inspections and to train them to be wildfire mitigation specialists to do those Fire Smart inspections. It's just allocating a small portion of time. It's yeah. It's still the Fire Smart coordinator still belongs in RDP. But our thoughts would be that a fire prevention officer who's out in the community would be a good liaison for helping get that next level of inspection required if we wanted to become members of the Home Partners program through Fire Smart.
I think that's something new, isn't it? The home.
It is. It's in order to have residents actually qualify to get reimbursed for their Fire Smart activities on their properties, we do have to register as a community to become a Home Partners program community, which is the thought that would not be, of course, a this year activity. That would be a down the road activity, that if council wished to have us become a Home Partners program for Fire Smart, that would be an opportunity for the community to be.
Can you bring a report forward on that? Because I think that's something that should happen sooner rather than later.
Yes, we can absolutely do
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
so the sooner you bring a report, the sooner we can look at it and determine whether that's, because there's gonna be a lot of people, I think, doing those kind of activities this year. Right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be lots of people doing that. As soon as snow goes, there's gonna be people doing what they can. So the sooner we can make them eligible for that, the better. So if you can bring a report to us on that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to touch on what Aaron spoke, we would just assist that position under the fire prevention And that fire prevention would fall, not only commercial, but everything, anything to deal with life safety, our fire prevention department would be, you know, assisting or giving up on
Okay.
that, so. Any other questions on that one? Moving on to communications. So currently our radio system continues to provide challenges. It happens more in the summertime when the trees do start leaving and growing canopies there and in the rural areas where we respond. So Fort Nelson First Nations, the airport, anywhere west of town, north of town, we just can't communicate with each other on our repeater system because our repeater is lower than where we usually respond to because it's at the fire hall. So we did create a radio committee that has been established, and we are looking at interim solutions while working on long-term goals and options that are being explored. So in the near future here, you'll probably see us come to council asking about upgrading or replacing the current radio system that we have. It's caused a lot of issues in 2023 when we responded to different fires, mostly west of town. Middle of the night during those power outages, it'd be like trying to have this meeting, but we're all in different rooms talking on the radio and only one person can hear the other person. We dealt with so many of those issues last year where me as an incident commander, I got put in the ambulance for rehab for probably close to 40 minutes because I was so busy trying to do face-to-face with everybody on the scene because our radio system just didn't work. So we are running into a lot of communication issues with our radio system. So there'll be something coming forward as the committee creates a plan that's going to work for our area. So any questions on that?
So how are you gonna mitigate that for this upcoming season? Or are you hoping to have a new radio system or communication system in place for this fire season?
So right now, we have the push to talk radios. So I have one, Deputy Chief Shepherd has one, and the fire hall has one, so we can communicate with the fire hall that way. We have added more cell phone boosters to some of the apparatus, which will help with that the phone calling each other and stuff like that. As it comes for the radio system itself, we haven't come up with a fixture on that, but we're looking at a few different options where we think it might work. We just got to explore them a little bit more before we do reach on that. So we are still going to have some radio communication throughout the summer, but hopefully with the push to talks, we'll be able to at least talk to dispatch and vice versa and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and that's a significant budget item.
it is.
Well, we never saw anything like that in this year's budget
No,
ask, so.
and that's why we want to spend time with this committee is to design a system that is going to work here and work for the long term versus come ask for money and the system doesn't work and we're back in the same boat we are today. We just want to make sure that we do build the system that's going to work here for the years to come.
Your committee might want to talk to the Peace River Regional District because they got all their departments in the entire district, including all the municipalities. They went to the push to talk system, upgraded so you might want to talk to them about their experience. And that was, so that's 3 or 4 years ago now that they did that. They'd made that switch.
And NFPA just did a bunch of changes too, where they upgraded their NFPA radio and communications standards to they're so high now that they're right now. I think there's only one radio company out there that does meet the current standard. So the other companies like Motorola and Kenwood up to Kenworth or Kenwood, they're still trying to get to that standard. They're not there yet. So there is a lot of changes happening in the communications world when it comes to emergency services and fire departments. So we're keeping a close eye on that, and we will definitely reach out to Peace River. Next slide is our apparatus, Quint 1. Same thing. This is just for just to bring forward to council, just some forward thinking that we're going to have to be thinking about in the next few years here. Is basically Quint 1 is a 1997 E1. It's a 75-foot aerial. We purchased it secondhand in 2009, and we put it in service in 2010. In 2023, we spent $17,606 on it to keep it in service. So far, year to date, we've spent 48,000 on it to keep it in service. So some things that you're gonna be coming seeing most likely in the second quarter is options on keep the truck, replace the truck, refurbish the truck, or some forward thinking about what we're gonna do with this truck here because it's turning into that money pit where it's starting to cost a lot of money to keep it in service. It is our second out truck responding to any high occupancy building. So the high school or any of the schools, the hospital, all the hotels, apartments, like it rolls second response. And we have used it quite a bit on structure fires to mitigate so we can, have that aerial attack onto the fire and stuff like that. So like I said, this is just something to bring forward to council. It is costing us some issues and money, and we just want you, council, to start thinking, to know that I don't want to come in here one day asking for a truck. I just want to give you some forward thinking that in the near future, we're coming to probably ask for another truck. Any questions on that one?
I think probably you'll want to provide a business case to us about the need for a truck like that when we have one, but do we need to have one? I think a justification for that style of truck, I think will be part of whatever report that you bring. I'd be interested in seeing that justification.
So this truck has saved Super 8.
Yeah.
And this truck has saved a couple of the older mills out there, but I mean, if we ever have new mills, it's definitely going to be something that, it is valuable for us. Even with the rec center alone, if we have to go up and rescue somebody off the roof, we're going to use that truck. So they're more than just aerial platforms or ways to fight a fire. They're also life safety rescues. So if somebody was trapped in one of the apartment buildings, this truck will go right through the window and we would, take the victims off the top floors of any apartment. So, but yeah, no, we will definitely be doing a good business case, and only a business case on just a business case in general on replacing it. What's best? Is it better to refurbish it, buy another used, buy new? So we will do a good business case for council.
Do you have a truck committee, or is this just done by the officer staff?
So not last year, our last two apparatus that we did replace, we did put an apparatus committee together, and it was all the career members of the department. So we are slowly going to having committees. Yeah, so I don't want to say we have an official committee, but in the last two apparatus we did replace, it wasn't replaced by the chief officers, it was replaced by the department. So
Councilor Andrews?
Was that where, would it 2018 when we got like squad 1 and stuff?
Yeah,
That,
so-
that process, same sort of
yeah. So Pumper 1 and Squad 1 was replaced by all the members of the career department. We sat down with the apparatus builders and we went right from page 1 right to the end, and we designed and built those trucks to meet the needs of the department. So it's hard for a chief officer to build a truck when he doesn't use it every day. So it's really important to have our staff feedback on. Next slide is the fire hall / public works building. Just same thing, just some information for council that the physical capacity challenges that we have in the bay itself for the apparatus and the office areas, and same thing, public works is facing the same challenges. We welcome council to walk through the building any time of the day, and you can see the challenges that we're facing there. There's some things that are happening in the fire service world where cancer is something that we're exposed to daily, different cancer causing agents that can give us cancers. And one thing we really want to push for is a clean room / dirty room, where we go to an incident, we come back, all of our gear and equipment is stored in that room until it's clean, versus it's hung up on the wall today and we walk by it every day and our gear is off gassing and just giving us this, we're just exposing us to different chemicals and stuff. So we really want to start catching up with the health standards of mitigating cancer causing agents in the fire hall. So, and the building is shared by Public Works and the fire hall, and we are a mission. They're pretty good. So any questions on that one? And the next thing, our fire training ground. Our fire training ground currently is at the landfill. We have the 3 C cans. We have a main floor and an upstairs. We do all of our live fire training at the training ground. So all of our NFPA 1001 level 1 and 2 training, we do all of our live fire training there. We have a vehicle prop, we have a dumpster prop, we have a 500-pound cylinder prop there that we use live fire training on. We have a gas meter that attaches to the burn building where we can do gas responses and stuff like that. We also have an auto extrication pad where we do all of our auto X training down there and rescue training. So we're right now investigating options for mitigation of the environmental contaminants, which are incompatible with the Crown land tenure for waste disposal. So today, or not today, but last year and before the years leading up to that, we would go down, light a vehicle fire, or have a vehicle fire, or any type of fire, and we had no way of collecting the water runoff. So now we're looking at ways we can mitigate or collect water runoff. We have changed the way we do our Auto X training, that we lay absorbent pads down and stuff like that to collect any fluids that may leak onto the ground. So the training ground itself, as you can see in the picture there, it's pretty grassy. We're either in the grass or we're on just some crushed gravel. So in the future, we're probably looking at mitigating ways to have a be able to collect our runoff water for any hazards or contaminants.
Is there a fire training ground at the airport?
I think there was many, many years ago, but I don't think it's accessible anymore. I've never seen it, but I know on the old maps it showed live fire training pit.
Okay.
And I think they mitigated all of that topsoil and ground a few years back. So that's the end of my presentation for tonight. I don't know if you have any other issues, questions, or comments or anything.
Councilor Souls.
I just have comment on this last section you went through with the training site. I know it's getting a lot more common using the bio forms of treatment of hydrocarbons. There's a lot of different bacterial systems now that are being used heavily in the oil patches as a way of mitigating any of the residual hydrocarbons of this. So anyway, I think that's actually it's not something that would have to be invented, but it's actually something that we could look into as a way to tag on to an already existing technology that's quite common.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, one of our biggest issues when we do foam training.
Yeah, just the home itself.
Have they gone back to a protein foam, or are they still using AFFF? No, that was pretty. There was a lot of
Right now,
hype around the AFFF as being a potential cancer-causing foam.
we switched with the new apparatus. We've gone to foams that would work with our compressed air foam system. So we have Class A foam and we have Class B foam on the trucks, and a Phos-Chek foam. When we were buying that was the newest and greatest out there, but they are looking at ways of making foam more friendly and environmentally used.
I'll go back to the old protein. That's probably what they'll go back to eventually.
Probably.
Which is the
Probably,
ground up chickens, right?
Yeah.
And foamed up when you put water to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anybody else? Chief, thank you very much for your report. Thank you very much for everything you do and everything that your staff does for us and our community. We certainly appreciate the update. I know you've got some big issues there that we need to deal with in the future. Those are going to be big budget items, and we certainly look forward to any kind of a report that you and the staff come up with, your staff and the town staff here to figure out how we might be able to deal with some of these issues that you've got. And I'm sure for the council that's been here before, these are not the first time they've heard about some of these issues. And so, sometimes it comes down to all about money, but we really do need to look at the business case for some of these things, particularly where the health and safety of the firefighters is at risk. So thank you very much.
No, I thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Have a great evening.
Okay, so I don't have any new business or anybody, members of the public I should ask have joined in? No? Okay, then we are adjourned till 6:30. Thank you very much.